Hey everybody, I want to welcome you to this weekend's special edition of the Get Your Geek On podcast. As always, we are your hosts, Chuck Keywatts,
Robert Jokes,
bringing you the latest and greatest in geek news and reviews for this week of June 22nd, 2018. And we have a very special guest. We've been hyping this one up all week. Another cast member from one of our favorite shows here, Aqua Teen Hunger Force. You know him as the voice of Frylock, the star of the show. Please welcome right now, live via Skype, Mr. Cary Means. Cary, thank you so much for joining us today, my friend.
What's up? Nice intro, man.
Not a problem, man.
All this dude.
So what we do here, basically for those of you that are watching the show, you know that we like to dive in with our celebrities. Now, Cary is no stranger to the world of Adult Swim, and neither are we here. So we want to get right into it, Cary. Tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of where you're from and how you got started in voice acting.
Well, I was born in a little town called St. Louis, Missouri.
You a St. Louis pizza fan?
St. Louis pizza, St. Louis style ribs. If you go in the Kroger's, you see St. Louis style ribs, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
You don't see Kansas City style. You don't see Texas style. You see St. Louis style. There's a reason for that. That's because this guy's looking like, who the hell is this dude talking? He's looking like, what the hell is he talking about ribs for? That's the look on your face. He's like,
I'm a fat dude. You're just making me hungry. That's all. I'm just like, ribs. That actually sounds pretty good.
I always think about that. Scene.
I'm saying.
I also think about that scene you mentioned ribs from I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, and that's it's like
one rib.
Can I get one rib?
Rib? Oh, this is a legal cigar, by the way.
Oh, dude, we're in a weed legal state, so you're good, man.
Way legal cigar, Al Capone cigarillos. That's what I smoke.
That's the way to do it, man.
Al Capone's, the little hand rolls from Honduras.
Love them. Shameless plug. Get it, man.
Shameless plug.
They've taken my picture outside many establishments and given me free cigars. Hold this up, and we'll take your picture. And I was like, let them know it's Cary Frylock Means smoking this Al Capone cigarillo.
That's the way to do it, man. So tell us a little bit about how Aqua Teen came about. I mean, obviously, the show ran for an incredible run on Comedy Central, being renamed and brought back tons of different ways. But tell us a little bit about how you got involved with that show at the start.
I auditioned for it, man. Like, you know.
Well, what's the difference with? I mean, what is a voice acting audition like compared to going out on like a film audition?
I'll tell you what my voice acting audition was like for Aqua Teen. Okay, I was in the break room, my day job. This is 1990 something, 7, 8, 9, something like that. I worked for a market research firm in Sandy Springs called Booth Research. I can say the name now because it's no longer funked. It's now defunct. I'm going to silence my cell phone here because this is giving me pings and pongs, and smartphones are such a pain in the ass. But anyway, so I'm standing in the break room, my day job, with the fax copy of Rabbot script in one hand, and the telephone receiver. Yeah, the phone was on the wall back then. Unless you couldn't call me on my cell phone because all we had was flip phones back then. I think in the late '90s, and beepers. We had flip phones and beepers and pagers.
I'm Motorola.
There's this thing called pagers back in the day, where people would page you and you would call them back from a payphone. That's right, there were payphones on the streets when I was a little shaver. You put a quarter in and you could talk to your aunt and uncle and make a collect call. They always turn you down. But anyway, so I'm standing there with the script for Rabbot going, no, meanwhile, don't get the jam box. And I'm like, what the hell is this? I'm not going to get this gig. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is some crap. Floating box of French fries? Nobody ever watched that stuff. But of course, here we are a decade and a half later doing the things that we do. And I'm doing a new show on Nickelodeon now. But I'll tell you about that later. How much time do we have?
I mean, we got all the time that you want, man. We always tell people like 15 to 20 minutes because we want to get you out. But we've had interviews run long, man. It's all about what you want to do. Now, I have to ask you because
I did this, the guys wanted me for 2 hours. And I'm like, 2 hours? I talked about everything in the first hour. We're going to talk about for another hour.
So now,
like, right, another hour, Cary. I was like, shit, I should have charged y'all for this.
There you go, man. Make that money.
Anyway, so
So the Aqua Teen, you guys were actually in kind of rare waters here, because not only did you guys kind of avoid syndication by changing the name of the show every season after you got to the 100th episode, but you guys got a theatrical release movie, which doesn't really happen with cartoons, let alone like an Adult Swim show like that. So can you tell us a little bit about what the movie was like? Because here in Boston, obviously, when Message Carrie asked for the trap, you know what happened with the movie in Boston with the Moonanites and the bomb scares. So that was hilarious to see that on this side of it. But I mean, tell us a little bit about how the movie came together and what you remember about that whole bomb scare.
I was watching it on CNN just like everybody else, man. Matter of fact, Dana Snyder, Master Shake, was at Turner. He was like at the Adult Swim offices when it was going down. He was like, "What are y'all watching on TV?" And they were watching the quote unquote Moonanite bomb scare. But a little side note to that, I don't know if y'all remember during the time they were pumping up Mission Impossible 3 with Tom Cruise. And I have a related story to Mr. Cruise about the movie. I'll tell you about that in a second. But anyway, they put up all these Fall USA Today newsstand paper displays all across the country. Now, this is for Mission Impossible 3, which they were pumping up around the same time they were pumping up Aqua Teen. And they would smoke when you got near them. So it was like, how was that not a scare for a bomb?
Really?
But a Moonanite flipping off traffic like this, that scares everybody. Oh my God, it's a terrorist attack. Some sucker mom probably saw it coming home on the freeway. It's like, oh my God, call 911, Homeland Security. They shut down the whole city.
Yep.
And you know, you were there.
Oh yeah.
Some of you were there in old Boston. And that's why I was like, when you contacted me about this, I was like, it's a trap. Set me up.
He did too.
It was so. I think the statute of limitations is. You're good.
Oh man, my agent a few years ago, right when I found out we were being canceled, boo hoo hoo, it was like, yeah, there's a con in Boston they want you to come to, and I was like, do they really? Want me to come to a con in Boston, huh? Yeah, right. I believe that.
Now,
never happened. Never happened.
Now, you guys were also behind one of the best pranks ever, in my opinion. So I was so hyped for the Aqua Teen movie to come out, and I'll never forget this. I didn't realize the date, and it's now why I realize it. I remember Cartoon Network was like, we're going to show the Aqua Teen movie in its entirety this Sunday night. Oh, my friends, we literally
got a little pixelated box
yes,
in the corner of your screen.
It was April Fool's Day. We didn't realize it, and they literally showed it in the tiniest picture-in-picture with no audio, nothing. So yeah, they showed the whole movie in its entirety, but no audio. No. Dude, we had a house full of people that were like, "We're not going to have to go to the theater. It's going to be incredible." So salted, so salted. Oh my God, dude! Like so angry about that. But that's just like what that show was.
I don't know if you've seen any of the box sets.
Oh, I own a lot of them.
Okay, if you got Volume 4 with Ignat's face on the cover.
Yep, the green and maroon one, yep.
And it says play all, and it plays all of them at once.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. They screw you on the DVD. Literally, you have to select it. Fuck, I forgot about that shit. You can't play. You know, on every normal DVD, you hit play all. You hit play, and it will play all 10 episodes simultaneously, like on the same screen. Like
somebody has really good fun with your. You know, it's like
I thought somebody was lying. A buddy of mine told me about that. He was like, "Yeah, the Volume 4 DVDs." I was like, "I got all of them myself," you know, and I played it one day and I was like, son of a bitch. He wasn't lying. It does that. I was like, I never really, you know, because I'm one of those type guys that hits play all on the little DVDs,
absolutely.
You know. And when that came up, I was like, those bastards. But you know, they've done all kind of weird stuff. They've emasculated my character throughout the years. They made him a female trapped inside of a male's body. That wouldn't be a bad thing, you know. If you, my girlfriend says IPAs give you man boobs. I don't know how true that is.
That sounds like a T-shirt. IPAs give you man tits. Drink stout.
That's what I heard from my girl. She's IPAs give you man boobies, and I was like, really? Let me test this theory.
What was your favorite episode to record?
Super Birthday Snake.
Super Birthday Snake. That's a solid episode. I think my all-time favorite episode is Hand Banana, but that's
do you know the gist of Super Birthday Snake?
Super Birthday Snake. That's early seasons, right? Isn't that like?
That's like it's on the Volume 3 DVD.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's between 1 and 3. So.
Meatwad wants a pet.
I'm trying to remember.
That's the Rabot seasons, like.
I'm gonna tell you. Meatwad wants a pet. and he wants a bunny rabbit. But instead of a bunny rabbit, a snake comes, and he names it Nathan Scott Phillips. And he gets devoured by the snake. Then Shake gets devoured by the snake. Then Frylock blows the snake and Meatwad and Shake to hell. Kills Carl.
Of course,
gets all pimped out. Julianne fries and picks up the phone and says, "Why don't you bring over a couple of bitches before I put a cigarette out in your damn eye?"
Yeah. He sounds so like it's just crazy to hear the voice come out because like I just feel like there's a TV in the background right now, but it's not. I'm really speaking to him. It's crazy. But yeah, for me, I mean, my personal favorites, it's always going to be Ham Banana and then Bible Fruit. That is such a David Cross gets it. Right, this night does not end until cocaine enters my system. Is one of my
H. John Benjamin, and
yes,
dude. It's just you guys were so crazy out there. I mean, was there ever any improv or anything like that on the show?
What was a table read like? What was it like? What would it be like to have a table read in that room?
We never even had a table read for Aqua Teen. I know we had one or two for the Brack show. When they were casting for the Brack show, they had a table read. They had me audition. Everything around the table. Right. It was never really a table. Aqua Teen. That was commentary.
All right. And
that static.
So now, Cary, you told us that you had a Tom Cruise story that kind of tied into the Aqua Teen movie. So I got to hear more about that.
So Dave Willis and Matt Malero wanted to cast Tom Cruise as Chicken Biddle. Now, you remember who played Chicken Biddle in the movie? Bruce Campbell. Chicken Biddle, right? In the beginning of the movie, he crashed the plane and all that.
Oh, yeah, he's framed from like 1,000,000 chickens pressed into one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you've seen the movie a couple of times.
Oh, you gonna test me, but this is not Amateur Night at the Apollo.
So, So anyway, so they reached out to, I guess, Mr. Cruise's people or agency or whatever. And they said, "Dear Mr. Cruz, we would like you to be," I don't know how the letter went, but all I know is the response they got. "Dear Adult Swim, Mr. Cruz will not now nor ever be a part of your little Pilly-Pally show, your little Pilly-Pally movie, so just stop asking. Thank you very much. Have a nice day."
Praise Lord Xenu.
Yeah, exactly. Basically. Probably was on letterhead from Scientology, you know what I'm saying?
That's hilarious.
This comes from Lord Xenu's desk.
But it's not like that's that crazy. He went out and did Tropic Thunder, which is way crazier than anything Aqua Teen ever did.
Considering he looked like Carl's brother.
He does. Oh my God! I never thought that. He literally does look like Mr. Patalanuski.
Yeah, the whole thing with this is when I'm not surprised because I'm from New Jersey, and the idea is the whole fact of this the whole idea of the show taking place in New Jersey, and then Carl's brother looking like Tom Cruise. I was like, I wonder if there's a connection.
But you know, there was a season where the Aqua Teens lived in Seattle.
Yes.
Yes.
It was a season when I learned this myself on the 107 Facts of Aqua Teen when they put that up on YouTube. Those guys. I was fact number 90, by the way. Oh, and by the way, Cary Means voice of Frylock. That's pretty much how that went. It was like I'm old Dave Willis and Pat Valero and Dana Steiner, and it was like Cary Means voice of Frylock. Yeah, that's unimportant. But anyway, back to what we were talking about.
My question was, now I need to know if this was a rumor or if this is actually true. Is the reason that you guys kept changing the name after you hit episode 100 because they didn't want to be syndicated?
I don't know.
Because like after season 7, I believe, is when you guys started the name changes. When went Aqua Unit Patrol Squad.
I think they were trying to get syndicated at that point, and they even made a kind of an inside joke about it with Dana Snyder going to L.A. in the Master Shake costume, talking about syndication. I don't know if you remember that episode.
Yes.
I don't remember which it was.
Is that no the live action episode? Did you have anything to say about that?
God.
Oh, there's got to be a story there.
Because T-Pain played him.
Yeah. Now this comes from Dana Snyder, so don't tell nobody I told you this.
No, we won't tell any of the live people watching
right now.
Don't tell anybody I told you this, and if it gets back to Dana, I'll kill you. No, just kidding. So Dana told me once upon a time that Dave Willis contacted him and said, we're going to shoot a live episode because we think it's going to be the last one. And we don't think we're going to be doing it anymore. That's why it's called The Last One Forever and Ever. Amen.
Yep.
Because they thought it was going to be the last. This was like, what was that? Like 2006?
Yeah, it's episode, end of season 8.
When around the movie time was coming out and everything. Yeah, there was a couple of times when they was like, Cary, I think the show's peaked. And I don't think we're going to be making many more of them. This was like early on. But that's another story. So it's like, okay. So Dave Willis tells Dana Snyder, oh, we're going to have you play yourself as Shake, and we're going to have Cary play himself as Frylock, and we're going to shoot this live action thing. So Dana, being the type of laid-back guy he is, kept calling Dave Willis, when are we going to shoot this thing? When are we going to do it?
It's a good impression.
Did you call Cary? You talk to him? And so after a while, Dave was just like, we kind of already did it. What do you mean you already did it? Well, T-Pain plays Frylock and John Benjamin plays you.
Wow.
So that's the way that went.
Wow.
If you think that was something, I mean, I could tell you some stories about how they treated Clay Croker back in the day. But I don't have no animosity or no harsh feelings for anybody at Adult Swim. If I want to work in this town again, I don't.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, the only thing that I do hate on them for is not releasing the rest of the seasons on DVD. The last 2 seasons aren't available.
But that would involve calling us all in and doing more commentaries and paying us more money. So I guess they didn't want to pay us no more. So I don't. Oh yeah, FYI, people of the world, Frylock don't get no residuals. I don't get no kickbacks. I don't get no royalties. I don't get none of that. Ted Turner got some hella lawyers. Let me put it to you that way. Let me put it to you that way.
That's cold-blooded.
When they told me we were being canceled, I was like, oh, we could do like Futurama or Family Guy, go to another network. And that one is back, right? Dave Willis and Matt Malera looked me dead in my face and said, Cary, we don't own it.
Wow.
Okay. So
that's crazy. How do you not get
Adult Swim on all the rights, royalties, and thereof, and so on and so forth. If you've ever been to law school or know any lawyers, they can break it down for you. It's a right-to-work state of Georgia, which is where I live. Florida is also a right-to-work state. That's why you see a lot of things being filmed down here.
Yeah, Georgia's always got stuff. Like, Georgia, they put that thing at the end, like filmed in Georgia.
Made in Georgia. Yeah. Made in Georgia.
They actually had us do the little "Made in Georgia" tag on the last season. And I did a couple of them, but they never aired. I don't think. The "Made in Georgia" is Frylock.
Now I gotta say, you guys had the best music of any cartoon I've ever seen. And before we went on air, I heard that one of your ringtones is actually one of the songs, and one of my ringtones from one of my friends is Meatwad singing "Chicken and Beans." Those chicken and beans.
Our ringtone is the final incarnation of the last season.
Yeah, Aqua Something You Know Whatever is the theme song for that one.
Teen Hunger Force Forever.
Aqua Teen Hunger Force Now Forever. So now I have to ask you, Cary. Well, I kind of pride myself on my Meatwad impression, so I have to try it out real quick and tell me if it sounds like him.
A second ago, for sure.
Yeah, so anyway, me and Frylock was gonna go hang out with the Lunatics, and the car's pure got all flooded with blood.
That's pretty good.
Not bad. All right, that is from the man himself. I will take that to the bank. But so, Cary, before we wrap up out of here, man, I want to say, obviously, I'm going to be thrilled to meet in person at Rhode Island Comic Con, and everybody that's going to be attending that con, make sure you check out his booth there. He's got some great artwork that he sells.
I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys at Rhode Island Comic Con, and you're going to have to give me your address, man, so I can send you guys a piece to display on you.
Oh, absolutely, man, and we would be absolutely honored to have that. It will live here forever.
Put something together, but I'm not that type of guy. I don't throw nothing together.
Dude, you could print out a Google image and we'd be happy.
Yeah, Google.
No. I'm not going to do it like that. I do you guys right. I give you something.
It's incredible, man. And I'm going to be sure to put all your links in the links to this video. Make sure anybody that's watching this live, check out his Facebook page. Contact him for some great local appearances. He's going to be doing cons all summer.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I even have a YouTube channel.
Check out the YouTube channel. We'll be sure to post that.
We'll definitely be posting that.
But check that out, too, because every time I go to one of these little cons across the country and wherever I go, I do little videos and vignettes, and I post the stuff. So, check out my exploits and antics and shenanigans. I'll be in Kansas City next month.
Absolutely.
Doing some type of horror con there on the 13th to the 15th.
Sweet.
So
Well,
I'm actually stepping in for Dana, who had to cancel.
I saw the announcement for that. They were like, but don't worry, we've got Frylock standing by.
Yeah, got some fries coming in. So yeah. Sometimes I can be number two if I can't be number one. It's okay. I used to tell that to the girls when I was in college. Hey, baby, if I can't be number one, I'll be number two.
Amen. Well, you're number one in our hearts. And, Cary, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us. Make sure you guys check out all his links that will be posted in this video.
Let me ask y'all a question. Somebody said that I got them through a rough patch when their father died. Who was that?
That was me right here, man. So I will tell the story behind that. So when I was 18 years old, I had just moved back in with my father. I was raised in foster care. And about a month and a half after living with him, I went into his bedroom and he had passed away. And really, really traumatic experience for me. And all I remember of the week after that happened is right after they pronounced him dead at the hospital, I went to Walmart. And I had money. I bought a case of beer and 4 seasons of Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And literally just marathon, and that show is what got me through everything, like leading up to the funeral and everything. It's kind of where I really fell in love with that show. I had seen a few episodes, but really, really dove in deep for that, and that will always hold a special place in my heart. So that's why I just need to let you know about that, because that was something that really meant a lot to me.
You guys kept me up at night watching Adult Swim. That would be when I was living with roommates. That would be my ritual. That would be our ritual at 11 o'clock at night. It would literally be like we'd have people coming in from all out, like I'd be getting ready to go to bed, somebody be getting ready to go to work, somebody would be coming in from work, changing shifts, and we'd all just sit there and watch Aqua. We'd watch the block of Aqua. We're like, okay.
Hey, I miss those days, and not just because of the paychecks, man. I miss doing the show, but I'm also. Myself, Dave Willis, and Dana Snyder are all on a Nickelodeon show now called Welcome to the Wayne, WTTW. Mm-hmm. So Google that one.
Absolutely.
Check that one out.
And hey, man, we live in a world...
Last July, actually.
We live in a world of reboots and revivals, man. I don't think it's that far-fetched to think that Aqua Teen could come back at some point one day.
Oh, hell, they're bringing Last Man Standing back. They brought Roseanne back. Well, Roseanne back.
They brought it back again, though. They're bringing it back without her.
Yeah, they call him the Connors.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy about because John Goodman is my homeboy.
Thank you. That is John Goodman is the whole reason I watched that show.
But anyway, check it out. What's this thing you want me to say?
Oh, so yeah, man, if you just want to go ahead in the voice of Frylock, just say, this is Frylock, and you're watching the Get Your Geek On podcast.
Okay.
And Robert's going in and just make sure the sound's good, so just give me 1 second. And we good? Go ahead.
This is Frylock, and you're watching the Get Your Geek On podcast. So get your geek on, fools. Peace.
Yes! Thank you so much, man. You have no idea how happy that makes me.
Word.
Seriously, so what I'll do is I'll send you a fully edited version of this video so you can use it however you want, and I'll shoot you my address. And dude, I cannot wait to meet you at Rhode Island. We're going to be podcasting there, so it'll be an honor to meet you.
Sweet.
Seriously,
nice
man.
Nice to talk to you guys.
You have a great day, man. Thank you so much.
You too. Later.
Dude, I just told the Frylock! Oh my god. I love this job.
I'm done.
In the Get Your Geek On podcast, we'll be back with our regular show in about 1 minute. Just taking a quick water break, switching over our info on the timeline, and we'll be right back.
We're back. We're back.
Hey everybody, and we are back. We want to thank you for joining us for the Cary Means interview. And I gotta tell you, man, that meant something special to me. It's never lost on me when people are willing to come on this show, but
absolutely.
When it's something that like means a lot to me, like a cartoon I watch or a show or a comedian or something like that, it just holds a little bit more of a special place for me. But really nice guy, and got to thank you for taking the time out of his Saturday.
Yeah, thank you, Cary, so much for that.
And we look forward to whatever PC sends will be added to this set forevermore. But now we want to jump into our regularly scheduled programming for this week. And I'm going to start with trailer talk this week. So we got a couple of cool trailers. We got Creed 2, which is the first trailer for that. Looks really good.
So here's the thing that got me with the Creed 2. They're like, this is a fight. And then all you see, like, that last scene.
You didn't know who it was?
It was like, and then you see Drago.
Yeah,
you're like...
That's the thing. I knew. I was watching the whole thing. I was like, are they going to show him?
They didn't show him, but then you see Drago, and you're like...
But that's the thing, and then the whole trailer, like, I knew that he was fighting Ivan Drago's son, so that's why I was hyped for this, but then it's like the whole build-up of, like, this fight means that much more because he killed his dad and everything else like that. Like.
But even outside of it, so does it mean they're going to bring back Brigitte Nielsen? Because okay, so it's like, she's old.
And Dolph Lundgren's back.
Okay.
As Drago. It's going to be good, man.
Oh, boy.
But the fact, I mean, I like sequels when the writing team stays intact.
Yeah.
I feel like that you get a lot more out of it. And John Wick and Incredibles are the two most recent examples of that. Like, you keep your writing team, you keep the essence of the movie. So, I mean, I'm excited to see it. Creed was a surprise for me. I like that Sylvester Stallone seems to kind of be a backseat now.
Well,
like, I get he's the mentor, but he is now very much a supporting player, whereas he was kind of like a co-star lead in the first Creed. So,
well, it is like his character. Like, this is one of those things where, for me, Rocky is one of those hard, iconic characters, and the idea is he can't really go away. Although people will say Rocky 5 never happened.
What's that? The Rocky Balboa one?
No, well, Rocky 5 and Rocky Balboa.
Rocky 6, Rocky versus Dementia.
Yeah. Never happened.
But the biggest thing for me is, like, and this I think is the easiest way to qualify it. When you think of Creed and Creed 2, I think can separate it more. Is it a Rocky movie?
No, it is a Rocky movie because it seems like it's like going along those lines of Rocky 1.
I feel like it's a Rocky movie in the way that Civil War is an Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like Rocky 6.5.
Yeah. It's like it's this. I'll say it's more like the alternate Star Trek timeline.
Oh no! It's exactly like
it's
that.
like the alternate Star Trek timeline. That's what those movies mean for me. It's like they tell a really good story. It hits back on Creed's just your like whole thing. It's like this. It's this parallel. So that's great. But that came out of nowhere for me. I was like, what? And I was like, oh, I didn't know that it was being made. Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson. I was like, all I was thinking about was, hey, guess what? Marvel movies, and then this just like surprised me out of nowhere.
And then the one trailer, it's not even so much the trailer, the behind the scenes is the new Mission Impossible, which I gotta tell you, I love those movies because of how practical they go. But I didn't realize the big stunt they do at the end, they did these halo jumps for real. Tom Cruise did more than 100 of these jumps to try to get this shot right, and they only had 3 minutes every day while the sun was setting to get the lighting right and get the shot perfect. It's the shot, if you've seen the trailer, where he jumps out of the plane and then he falls right down at the camera, and then the camera cuts it. Like, that's all real. That's a real jump. And when I was telling my girlfriend, I'm like, explain to her how it's all practical during the trailer. That's the one scene. I'm like, yeah, that's probably the one CGI scene. But they're all bad. It's like, no, he did 100 plus jumps.
He's definitely into practical stunt work.
Like, say what you will, like, his love of practical stunts has turned me from being one of his biggest haters into one of his biggest fans. Because I used to just hate him for the Scientology and like being so short and the way he makes them like edit like his height and shit. That dude goes all out for his stunts. And, like, how many movies can you say they're at number 6 and they're building in quality? I think the Mission Impossible movies got exponentially better at 4. Yeah. Like Ghost Protocol?
Ghost Protocol, for me, it was this. So, I was in high school and the first one came out and it was like, when you're out to save the world, you use a Mac. And so, it's like, it was like these things where I just graduated. Wow, I was just graduating from high school. Old as fuck. Yeah, definitely. When that first movie came out, and that was such a revolutionary thing because the Mr. Phelps was like, you're like, oh, it was the beginning of like the betrayal film, and it's like, how many times is it? And then when you hear goodness, I'm forgetting Superman's character name. What's his
Christopher
real?
Reeve?
No, the other.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill is the reason I want to see this movie.
It's like Henry Cavill's like, how many times has he been betrayed by any? Like you think about like every movie he gets screwed over in some way, shape, or form for doing his job and doing it right.
And they're just so good. Like they put plot into these, which is like you don't even need to.
So I'm going to explain this to you because I know when Anthony was here, we were talking about it. These are like the Fast and the Furious movies.
I will disagree. They have gotten better.
Oh, okay, they've gotten better. Okay. It's like a fine wine; it gets better with age.
Okay, yeah, I will agree with that then. I just gotta say, I got the 5-pack on Blu-ray over the weekend, so we definitely had to do some commentary for those. But I gotta tell you, man, it's exciting to see franchises that are that deep and find ways to make stuff new.
You're talking about 20 years now, exactly. And the idea is it's not like it's and they're doing them a little more frequently because of just the cast.
Yeah, it's like every 2 to 3 years.
2 to 3 years, whereas before it was like when we got
it was 10 years from 3 to 4.
Yeah, well, no, not just 10 years from 3. It was 10 years from 2 to 3.
Was it? It was. I remember 3 was a big deal when 3 happened.
Yeah, when 3 happened because it was like,
I just remember Philip Seymour Hoffman has one of the best villain lines ever. It's like, I'm going to find her, I'm going to hurt her, and I'm going to kill you right in front of her. I just love that whole little monologue that he does.
Yeah, it's just like, and that the beginning of that movie was just like, it is the most intense thing that you see because he's sitting there in the chair and you're like, it's going to be okay, honey. It's going to be okay.
And the other thing that Mission Impossible does that you don't see in a lot of movies is like, there's always the world could end, but Mission Impossible will nuke a city. Like, they'll, like in Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, it's Ghost Protocol where they destroy the Kremlin. Like they blow up all of downtown Russia and shit like that. And in this one, it's a nuclear bomb that wipes out 3 cities. Yeah, it's like they don't always stop it. Like it's about how do you deal with it after it's happened.
It's about you
don't see that a lot. Like it's always about like we gotta stop the bad guy. Where's the van? The van was supposed. There's always like a band that's late.
But it's like when you watch the first movie and you see that with the first movie, it's like it tells you everything that goes wrong. Like go rewatch that first scene in the first movie, the original Mission Impossible movie from 1996 and 5.
The opening tells you the whole movie.
The opening tells you like how much planning goes into it. You see all these characters, everybody's like.
I was saying it actually shows the movie. So that was one thing I watched. The 107 facts about this. Is funny that Cary Means was talking about. So in the original Mission Impossible TV show, in the intro when the match would light, they would in the flashes they would show you it was shit that was going to happen in that episode. And if you watch the Mission Impossible, it's the stuff that happens in the whole movie. Like they give away the whole movie in those opening flashes.
No, I remember that. But it was just the idea is like things that go terribly, terribly wrong when you think about these black. It's probably the closest. Like James Bond makes it look like glamorous and stuff, but it's like this is America, so
I think Mission Impossible is the more like realistic. It's like they're getting disavowed. They're having to cover their trail, kill innocent witnesses.
It's like things are going terribly wrong, and and it almost happens just about every film.
And just the weird ways they find to inject humor, like in the preview for the new one, where Simon Pegg's like, "What's taking so long?" and he's like, "I'm jumping out a window," but it just looks like he's yelling it at the people in that aisle. Just like the stupid little stuff like that I really love. But needless to say, it's a movie I'm excited for, and I didn't know that Halo jump was real, so that's what I wanted to touch on there. Now, in some TV news, we had talked about this in the rumor mill, and now it's actually been confirmed. So Roseanne, which came back and then was canceled after Roseanne's racist tweet, and they were scrambling to try to salvage the show somehow. ABC announced they have greenlit 10 episodes of a new revival of The Revival called The Connors, which will feature all the cast members of Roseanne.
I'm not going to say it's a revival. It's more along the lines of, it's like, we defibrillate. We're trying to keep it together.
I know that this is going to be... I know it's going to date me, and it may be somewhat offensive, but it's the Terry Schiavo of the TV. It's alive, but just barely. But so, needless to say, they've brought the Connors back. It's going to be everybody but Roseanne, and from the sounds of the first plot line that they've leaked, it sounds like they're going to kill Roseanne, which, I mean, they basically set her up at the end of last season of Roseanne where she's going in for this big surgery, and she's addicted to painkillers. So you could have her OD, or you could kill her in the surgery. But, I mean, needless to say, I'll watch it because I'm a huge John Goodman fan. What are your thoughts on them scraping this guy? I am happy for the people that lost jobs. Yeah, because
the idea was, I think the major thing was that people were. It was the fact that Disney and ABC got together really quickly on this one, and people lost their jobs, and that was a major outrage, even from Fox. It's like, you just cost people their job, and because of your tweet. and then you tried to blame it on something else, and blame it on something else, and then blame it on.
Well, here's the other thing: how did they work this? That she gets nothing out of it because she created the show, created the character. She's the EP. Like,
she's the executive. No, they're paying her off. I'm pretty sure they're paying her.
They're just not announcing it.
Yeah, they're not.
There's no way because she owns every bit of that show.
So the idea, I think, what they're going to do here is for this, they're going to pay her off. Because it's like here, we're going to pay you hush money, not really hush money, to just don't say anything. Here's what we're gonna do. You can go off and be yourself and be rich for the rest of.
It's so weird that you say that because now she was supposed to do the Joe Rogan podcast, and backed out at the last minute. And now she's gone radio silent on us. And flip that. That just leads me to believe even more she got paid off. Because if anything, she would have been like up in arms, like, oh, how are you going to continue the show without me and you haven't heard a peep from her. So
because they're gonna pay her. They're definitely gonna.
I just know how they could not because it's literally like she created every bit of it.
She or either that or they're gonna Alan Smithy her stuff where you're gonna see a credit that they're gonna attribute to her, but it's not but nobody's gonna know. So you'll see a name. You know what Alan Smithy is, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna just here you're gonna see this name, and it's gonna be in appearing episodes, and that's just a pseudonym for her.
Right. So now here's the other thing for me is. We've seen shows like 2.5 Men try to move on from a lead star going by replacing them, whereas they're not replacing her with anyone here. So this is kind of uncharted territory where a show loses its star, but then it's still going to go on anyway with the rest of the people. I know it didn't happen. So, I mean, do you think the show ultimately is going to be successful? It's only 10 episodes.
It's only 10. I think it is sustainable because Sarah Gilbert's been great.
I think her and John Goodman
are going to be carrying the show for the most part, as well as the. I'm forgetting
Jackie?
Not Jack. Well,
Lacey Goranson, the other Becky.
Yeah, Becky. The Beckys are going to carry that because they've been on there for a while and they've done other things.
Yeah, one of them's going to be pregnant. So that was the other thing. It's like an unexpected loss, an unexpected pregnancy, and that's what's going to lead this.
And so Laurie Metcalf's good. You have all these people who are doing things.
Do you think they try to put Jackie and Dan together?
No.
Really? Because they did in the original series. Like she had the hots for him at different points.
No. Because it's no. No.
You're like Tracy Morgan and Cop. No, hell no.
We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
And moving on to some much happier news, The Incredibles 2 is blowing away box office projections, man. Has not even opened overseas yet, and it's already over $200 million domestic. That's insane. $180 million opening weekend, third biggest opening weekend of all time, highest rated animated opening, broke the record by 50 million, broke our predictions by 30 million. What do you have to say? I mean, we're not surprised, but I think I'm honestly a little shocked at just how big it did. I thought 140 would have been a really good number.
To put it this way, I had a friend on a Facebook post saying, "You gave us Cars 1, 2, and you gave us Cars 2 and 3 that we didn't ask for.
Planes 1 and 2.
It was 2 that we didn't ask for, and it took you 14 years to give us something." So that pretty much says you that there. And we've talked about it before. This is a different kind of superhero movie because this is, let's see, 14 years. This is just before.
2004.
2004. Like we're just getting over the fact that they'd come out with that second horrible Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Rise of the Silver Surfer.
That was Spider-Man. No, that was right after Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2
was 2003.
2000. Yeah. So you have this long thing of
X-Men: The Last Stand is 04.
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah.
So these are painful movie memories before before we got Iron Man.
Ghost Rider was 04. The Ang Lee Hulk was 03.
Yeah.
It was not a great time for comic book movies.
Not a great time for superhero movies.
It's just so weird. Like, if you really just went back to 2003 and, just the Ang Lee Hulk, for example, anybody, I saw the pre-Veg bootleg of that anybody like that movie, you're like, oh, man, I went and saw the Hulk. Like, you went and saw the Hulk. What a fag. Like, what is wrong with you? And now it's just that's the norm. It's just the super. It's so weird to me how that's flipped. To see that superhero movies are now the norm.
Because it goes back to the idea where it took Disney 10 years ago, or I should say, it took the vision of Paramount and all these companies to say, hey, we've got these rights, let's build towards something. And then Disney took it over and said, yeah, we're going to build towards something.
Now, here's the bigger question. Now, we can all speculate on Incredibles 3 if you want all you want. I've also heard rumors of a prequel with Mr. Incredible and Frozone, how they met. But do you think, now, people don't realize this. I've actually never been to Disney. I had to hear this from a friend. Incredibles has almost no presence at any of the Disney parks whatsoever.
Yeah.
Do you think that's going to change?
Yes, it should.
I don't see any reason why it shouldn't.
I think the idea is this. So the reason why they need to do this, and and not to say that they don't have like Pixar presence, this is probably the most adult of their films.
Absolutely.
Of the Pixar stuff. It's not happy. It's like, the Monsters Inc. There's like they're actually dealing with adult level-ish here.
It's about parents going through midlife crisis.
It's like parents going through a midlife crisis,
not want to give up the good old days.
It's like kids, and it's and that's
coming of age in a midlife crisis.
It's like coming of age in midlife crisis, which is an adult with superpowers.
That's the thing. It's like with superpowers.
It's like and it's there's never been a hard. They've never they'll talk about it, but this has never been that's kind of been their thing that they've kept off to the side. Probably since they've owned the Marvel properties, they're like, hey, we're gonna do this. But it's
just very weird to me now that we live in a world where any Fantastic Four movie that's ever going to be made now is going to be compared to The Incredibles. Oh, but look at what they didn't do, like The Incredibles did, and they're not even Fantastic Four. Yeah. Like it's always going to be. It's like that weird Kobe LeBron. Or like LeBron Jordan comparison, but they're not even in the same franchise. It's so weird. It's like we took your thing and did it way better. Like, just that makes no sense to me. But we'll see how it goes. It's just I'm so happy to see that movie making the money that it did. I don't know why there was some part of me that was like it's gonna flop. Like I know that would never happen, but
absolutely
that was the paranoid delusion in my brain.
It's
never make another one.
Like it's not a matter of making the idea is they know their market. This or it's like what? Okay, so put it to you this way. They know their market for In and Out. They knew their market for all the cars and planes. They're trying to. This is their merch.
Think of a Disney franchise though that can go both directions, past and future, with their characters, and still have such an immersive world.
Yeah,
you can go all the way back to how Supers got made illegal and everything like that, and how they all met, how Elastigirl and Frozen all they met, or you can follow the kids and their journey and Jack growing up in this world. Like that's two polar opposite directions that I would mind either way. Like Monsters Inc., I was so mad when they announced that the sequel was going to be a prequel, Monsters University, because I'm like, do more with like, I wouldn't be mad with an Incredibles prequel at all.
No.
So, I mean, needless to say, we'll see what happens, but I don't think they're going to be giving up that cash cow anytime soon. Now, cash cow that has been abandoned, and they are clearing the life rafts out of that ship. I knew it was going to happen. I called it was going to happen. Solo ruined it for all of us. All future Star Wars spin-off movies are currently on hold. Halted pre-production of the Obi-Wan movie and the Boba Fett movie. All back to the drawing board because Han Solo, which was originally reported to be losing $50 million for Lucasfilm, after the insane marketing budget was revealed, now revealed that movie is going to lose almost $200 million for Lucasfilm Pixar. So now they've put the kibosh on all the spin-offs. What are your thoughts on that? The two movies we wanted, Obi-Wan and Boba Fett, are not going to come because of the movie no one asked for.
Yeah, and this goes back to, again, you want to know when they're trying to pitch films to you, what was their thought? What was that room like who said, yeah, this is a good idea, especially after The Force Awakens, where they kill off Han Solo.
My big thing was like, who was the idea? Because this was supposed to be Boba Fett first. Who is the idea? It's like, yeah, we'll bump Boba Fett. No one cares about him until we get to Han.
Well, because nobody.
That happened. The Boba Fett was supposed to be this release, and then they bumped it.
And even outside of that, it's like, so the other thing that we talked about, that's one. The whole point of this is you also want to tell new stories. And that's the larger issue for me, is the idea is like, not to see that it would be nice to see an Obi-Wan movie, but I don't need an Obi-Wan movie. Right. It would be nice to see a Boba Fett movie.
Because there's nothing with him. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's the idea. It's the mythos has brought up that one, and I'm going to say, let's not mess with that. Because
even so, it's the complete opposite of the Han, whereas Han, you knew a prequel movie of him, there was nothing going to be revolutionary about the character, whereas Boba only ever had 5 lines of dialogue, 2 of them were screams, and you don't know anything, about him as a kid, but you don't know anything about, that's a movie. There's something there that you could create new things that we've never heard of, that's how he got that reputation, but Han was a nobody when we met him in the first ones, so he was going to have to end this as a nobody.
Yeah. And so that's one of the things, and I just want to see new stories, and that what other stories can you tell in the Star Wars universe that don't have to do with main characters? And Rogue One. Huh?
Ahsoka.
Well, no, Ahsoka, and that's one of those films that okay, Ahsoka Tano. If you don't know or have not ever,
why? Why do you not know who that is?
If you don't know who that is, or like where have you been hiding under a rock?
In my opinion, the coolest Jedi of all time because of like her story being with tied to Anakin and everything.
Yeah, and so that's one. That's an interesting story. But there's all these other stories that you could tell within the universe that's so deep that doesn't have to do with the Jedi. And Rogue One proved that. It's like, hey, we can tell a story and just have here's a heist mission. This is what we're doing.
Rogue One also though did the whole like, we fuck your canon, but don't fuck your canon, because then they discount all the books, but then they take Saw Gerrera and put him in there. So it's like, it's just so weird. It's like, it's very, like Bill Burr compares it like feminism, how they pick and choose. Like, I want equal pay, but you can pay for the movie. I'll get off the life. It's like very much like that. Like, we don't like any of your extent, but we'll take Saw Gerrera, and we'll take Jade Solo, and we'll take Purple Light. Like, just weird stuff like that. It's like you can either have it all, or you can't. You can't just take the cherry off the sundae.
No,
like,
and it's the idea they can pick and choose, but it like that worked for them. Now the Han Solo movie, because Harrison Ford is still alive, guys. I mean, that's
another thing. It's just like weird.
It's just like that's.
I think it's a slap in the face to him.
Like that's what I took it as. It's a slap in the face to him, because like all the work that he put into making this iconic character, and then after The Force Awakens, getting the death that he always wanted to get in the film, because that was a major thing. It was like,
I wouldn't even be that. I would be pissed at it. Like, what the hell are you doing casting this kid? I've seen Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy 2. It's the same company. You guys can age us back, no problem. Am I wrong? Like, they did Michael Douglas and Kurt Russell. Incredible. They could have done that with him.
They could age
and I would argue I would have gone to see that movie.
And you go with this. Or they do it like one of the Tales from Indiana Jones, where it's like this whole thing where, you have Harrison Ford. He does this little bit part telling a story.
I thought that's where you're going with it. Yeah, at the end, and it's a Han right before Force Awakens or something.
Yeah,
like that.
It's
him and Chewie on the ship to right before they meet Rey.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't need to do this kind of stuff. And it's like what they did, and especially because it's an iconic character. Like, Lando, give me a Lando movie, because Donald Glover was excellent, and his story arc with him and his robot are. Yeah, it's just like
just eye roll city.
It's not eye roll city. It's just like, really,
he's in love. He's in love with a robot.
It's like he was like.
I know that's what they made the big deal about Lando being pansexual. It's like Lando's pansexual. It's like, you should have just said what you wanted. Lando's gonna fuck a robot. Like, he's definitely.
He's like you listen to her. It's like get out of my seat. And it's like, well, my joints hurt. You're gonna have to do that thing to me later. You're like, it's like, okay.
Just like, really, that's where you went, and then now you're not even gonna get the Lando movie because of this. So
yeah, it's like Donald Glover was good. That's one of the better performances out of that entire film. And I think like people, the guy who, like I hope him and in real life, because if you ever seen with Donald Glover and Phoebe Waller-Bridge, some of the best interviews on the internet. They're some of the best writers out there right now, just for the series that they do. And I'm not surprised by any of the fact that put it on hold, but like they need to go back to the drawing board. You need to like tell original stories, mix it in the Star Wars universe. It's like, Shadows of the Empire. That would be interesting, but they're never going to do that.
Oh, absolutely, we'll never get that. But needless to say, I mean, we can rant on Star Wars all day. It's so sad to see something that I thought was like up on the Mount Rushmore of movie franchise instead of slowly turning into The Old Man in the Mountain, which is a local reference that not many people here are going to get, but just crumbling away from us. But so I mean, Star Wars, it's never going to be what it was, and that's sad that we live in this cash grab world.
It's not. No, I'm not going to say this. I think they're going to learn their lesson. This is what when we talk about a little bit about Luke Cage. I think they're going to learn. They're going to learn their lesson about what not to do with a Star Wars film.
A company that has learned their lesson. I've got very reliable sources now that have seen both test screenings of Aquaman. And they say that it is insane. It is. They said that you would never know it was a DCEU film based on this because it's bright, it's sunny, there's light moments, like it's got real plot.
Dark.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like no, but like the DC movies, as much as you want to say like they're dark tone, they're dark physically. Like a lot of, but they're like no, it's like the opposite. The underwater action scenes they say are revolutionary. And then you're gonna love seeing Arthur like in his common. Although I hate Ralph Garman from Hollywood Babylon, it's like he doesn't look like Aquaman. He looks like a guy they found outside of a Walgreens buying meth. Like, hey man, he's selling meth to the sharks. But it looks good, man. And I gotta tell you, like the one I'm more excited for. We've confirmed we'll get the trailer at San Diego, which is no surprise. But we're gonna get the first Shazam trailer at Comic-Con as well, and that's the one they confirmed it takes place at Christmas time, which I'm happy. That movie, I think, is going to surprise people. I'm calling that right now to be like one of those dark horse movies. It comes out in March. It's going to be one of those movies.
Not John Krasinski.
Zachary Levi.
Zachary Levi is an interesting character, and I think he can play the Bill. I think I know why they got his character to do that, because he is.
They're leaning into the comedy of it.
Leaning into the comedy, but he's a guy who can represent. Not many people can represent a kid. In terms of their acting, and so he's one of those actors. Because you ever saw Chuck, I'm sorry.
I hate him.
So that is Yvonne Stravinsky is also very good. Like that's one of those things where that is a good show.
Which is funny that that's what you say that he can play the kid, because literally people I know that have worked on the movie that I've seen test footage of it say that it's big with superpowers.
Yeah, exactly. And like that's a guy that you're like, oh, we can't get Tom Hanks to do it, so this is the guy that's closest to Tom Hanks.
Does that not elevator pitch sell you right there? Big with superpowers. I'm like, I'm in. I love that movie. Like, it's one of my favorite movies.
That's one of the things you have to look at. So, this is where
I know that there's a whole group of people watching this podcast. I know they have no idea what Big is, and that hurts my soul a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
But they know scenes from it. If anything, Tom Hanks dancing on the keyboard in FAO shorts, which doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Yeah, I had to find that one out the hard way.
Yeah, no. Being a person who
Home Alone.
Yeah, so being a person who grew up in that area, and that was like one of the major things.
You're from there. I never got to go.
I grew up in so that was like you go into FAO Schwartz on Christmas, and this is right after Big came out, and that piano was always there. And then
that's a real thing that they had that?
That was a real thing that they had in the building, and it's like, it was revolutionary for the time, and it was a tour. Like a lot of things with these places, understanding that, Toys R Us, RIP, has gone under, but the idea is like, when you were a kid growing up in the 80s and 90s, this was a place to go.
That was in the way that, like, Tiffany's is the highest end jewelry you can imagine now. As a kid, that was the Tiffany's of toy stores. When you're shooting, like, you made it. You're at FAO Schwartz.
You made it at FAO Schwartz. If you bought a toy out of there, you had cash, because those toys were expensive. But most of the thing is, there's a lot of places, these stores in New York were tourist spots.
Right.
And then, like, Big just made that movie. The movie made it was like they were getting millions of people, and you're like, but that's the only FAO Schwartz. There was another FAO Schwartz place in.
Wasn't Home Alone? Am I wrong that Home Alone 2? Like he rigs a bunch of traps in the FAO Schwartz.
I can't remember.
He definitely gets stuff from there. I know he's there in the movie, but I'm 99% sure that he rigs a bunch of traps in it.
Yeah, because he goes to the FAO Schwartz store, and he talks to some lady.
Dude, it's crazy to me that's like Toys R Us and FAO Schwartz are just gone now. That's so weird to me.
Yeah, so thanks Amazon, ruining our childhood.
Yeah, really. Our Toys R Us has 4 days left. I went in there yesterday, and they only have the front row of the store left. Everything else has been roped off and cleared out. So it's literally just this front row by the aisles.
Thanks Internet. This is one of the worst things you've ever done.
Really is. Like, that was one of my favorite things as a kid, was getting the big Toys R Us toy book and going through it, circling all stuff on one of my Christmas lists.
Yeah, they don't have that anymore.
Kids will never know that joy of like sitting there with your highlighter.
That's like Saturday morning cartoons. You just things like this.
Dude, sit in front of you with your bowl of cereal, Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters. Come on. Yeah, that's the other thing. There was a Ghostbusters cartoon, kids, and it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, which one are we talking about? The
Ghostbusters. We're talking the early '80s, like late '80s.
Like the Ghostbusters.
The blonde Venkman.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. I will never forget. I had the actual proton pack with the foam noodle on it and the ghost trap. I was all about it, man.
Yep.
I literally thought that ghosts were real, and this foam noodle was going to take down the dark side. Like, that was my kid mind. Like, if the shit hits the fan and Poltergeist happens.
Do you remember the foam noodle lightsabers?
Oh, I remember the foam noodle lightsabers very well, because I remember my dad, how the foam noodles nowadays have the hole in them? So he got the ones that had the hole in them and stuck a flashlight in it, so it lit up the pool noodles, so you had, like, even more lightsaber, and then he would do the duct tape handle, so you'd get the gray. But yeah, incredible stuff, man. Not too much in the wake of all-around movie news this week. Child's Play, the Chucky series that haunted me as a kid, has been greenlit to a TV series.
Why? Okay, so no.
Like, you didn't need the 7th, 8th, and 9th movie.
It's just stop. Just like, this is one of those things where I'm going to say the Nightmare on Elm Street TV series. No, it kills franchises.
Dude, the Nightmare on Elm Street reboot killed that, but just craziness for that. But needless to say, we are 2 weeks away from San Diego Comic-Con, which we will be doing a special weekend episode. Most likely, we're going to be doing that on a Sunday just because we want to be able to report the big Friday and Saturday news. Obviously, we all know Hall H is the big Saturday show. So stay tuned for that. We are going to be having some more interviews in the next couple weeks. I just haven't been able to finalize dates yet. I know that Leslie Brandt will be either next Friday or next Saturday from Lucifer. The reason that was delayed is because of the show being in limbo, so now they can actually talk. By the way, Netflix, way cooler with interviews than Fox. Like, Fox, I've had to deal with a couple times now with The Gifted and Lucifer. They want all kinds of crazy links and questions and background and stuff like that. Netflix was just like, you're not going to talk about the new season? All right, cool, you're good. Like, that's it. That was literally the whole thing. That was just like a little quick little email, like, what you can't talk about the new season. That's all. Hey, cool, sweet. So we're going to shit talk Fox a little bit, probably. Yeah. And just want to say, screw you, Time Warner. I know that they don't have anything to do with us out here because we're Comcast. How dare you screw Cary Means out of his royalties for Aqua Teen? That show ran for 170-something episodes, and that dude doesn't get a penny from it? How the hell does that work? But
somebody didn't read the contract.
We live in a cruel and unjust world. But any final thoughts for this?
Well, I was going to say, quick thoughts on Luke Cage. We're going
to go deep on the spoilers. Don't worry on that. So talk about it.
Talk about it in terms of this one. So this, for me, was a much better season I think they learned the lessons for the most part. There's still some holes.
Is it... Whereas Luke Cage 1 was 2 seasons, really. Is this one fluid season?
This is one fluid season. This is one fluid season. I still, with all the Netflix Marvel shows, I still don't see the need for filler episodes. We were talking about the Heroes for Hire episode before we came on. You need to finish that off because that's
what I'm going through.
You finish it off. But overall, this is a much more complete series because the arcs, I was a little confused until the end of some of the story arcs, but then when I looked at it, it all made sense.
Right.
Killing off of a major character, or at least somebody that, and I can understand. For me, I'm like, I wasn't sad to see them go. Wasn't sad to see them go at all. It's just like they just messed it up, and I think they're doing some correction, some very good course correction on the series, and I'm looking forward to see season 3.
Season 3 is definitely going to be good if it gets greenlit. And the one thing that I definitely wanted to wrap up with before is you may notice that we don't have the Infinity Gauntlet here this week. And that is because I have this new bad Larry. So I want to thank James Russo. He's a local guy here, but I met him in a Facebook group called 3D Printed Props. And what this is a custom printed Orange Lantern battery from the Green Lantern animated series. Now, this does not look like this in the comics. Only in the TV show did it have this design because there's only one Orange Lantern, so it's meant to be unique. I had him do this. I cannot believe he was able to replicate the design as well as he was. It's absolutely incredible. It unscrews here at the bottom to be able to light up. It's got a nice flashlight built in. And then I am going to be mounting one of the Orange Lantern coins that Daryl Herschel made for us. And that is right here. I'm going to be mounting that onto the front. This way you have a nice little piece there and it still lights up in the back. So definitely, if you guys are looking for any 3D printed stuff, message James Russo. I'll tag him in the comments. Absolutely incredible work. This thing is heavy, it's sturdy, it's durable, and it definitely will be featured in more episodes to come. So I don't want you to think we forgot about the gauntlet.
And don't also forget, so Chuck did tell me, one of you guys did figure out the movie that we were talking about last week, and the character, or I should say the character.
Michael Londello was his name.
Michael Londello. We're going to work on getting you a nice, Michael Londello, we're going to work on getting you a nice little gift.
And now something I know that you guys have been waiting for. Our last pop giveaway of the weekend is here. You guys have all entered, so now I'm going to do the live pick. So here we go. Of everybody that entered, you had to tag 3 friends to enter. So going right here, and the winner of the Professor Chaos Pop is Gary Ratliff. Gary Ratliff, please message us. I will tag you in the comments. Gary Ratliff, you won the the Professor Chaos Pop. You have 24 hours to send us your address. These will go out Monday morning. Dr. Ian shipped out to Michael for getting that sex drive, so make sure you look out for that in the mail. And check out all of our episodes on the YouTube page for Get Your Geek On, and we'll be back here on Friday with our normally scheduled show. This week's Poll of the Week, check out Power Rangers Shattered Grid number 28. That series is blowing away expectations. So I think that's going to wrap things up for this week's episode of the Get Your Geek On podcast. Once again, a huge thanks to Cary Means for joining us today. I've been Chuck Watts.
I'm Robert Dokes.
And you guys have yourselves a week.